Hi, my name is Keith Miles. I'm a leadership and change management author. We're going to continue our practical leadership series, and we're going to talk about digital transformation leadership. It's some things that I think are missing from an unbelievably important conversation. It is an outline of a whole series, 8 videos in the series. We'll talk about digital transformation because it's everywhere the enterprise discussion of the day. It's so important that we get this right as we bring our organizations into the new economy. And while digital transformation goals are common, how we proceed through them to implement them, it can't be. It isn't. I'll get to that. So what are they? Well, we're going to accelerate outcomes, and we want to bring in new technologies, APIs, microservices, DevOps, SOA, bots, machine learning, cloud, hybrid. It really doesn't matter what the technical issues are. We're talking about how do you get more from your people so they deliver the results that you need to make your organization successful and to bring IT to the esteem that it needs to have, and it can have. So that's what we're going to talk about. If we do this properly, then we're going to increase customer connections, we're going to increase productivity, better value for every IT dollar spent. And that's awesome. That's where we're going. Here, if we have an IT organization, it has people, process, and technology. But to be fair, it's always been a little bit of a hybrid environment, hasn't it? We have things that are existing now, apps and infrastructure that support the activities now, while we build new things and we put them together. And so that's the hybrid environment that we've always had. And digital transformation is similar because it's this existing with new, but it's greater urgency, much higher intensity required because it's so important given the leverage that we get from digital outcomes. So the other thing I want to say is that, you know what, we're pretty unique. And that even if I went to another organization like yours, similar size, in the same industry, it wouldn't have the same people. It wouldn't have the same processes or technology. It'd have different leaders with different priorities, different financial situation, and your leadership would be different. So you're unique. And to think about that, you know what your team needs to do. You know what your capabilities are, and you know your situation, what you can manage, what you can't manage, what needs, what's imbalanced, what's strong, what's weak. You know all those things. And that actually puts you as a leader in a much stronger position than you may realize. And what concerns me is when leaders abandon this real position of strength and just overlay a generic template over their organization. And, oh yes, the consultants say, oh, it's not generic. It's not generic. There's a few data points we'll adjust for you. But it is. It's something you have to learn and put over top of your organization. That's what I'm talking about. So if we look at your typical organization, we're going to pick this one-size-fits-all template that came from some consulting group's client, and that client had a different org culture and a different business situation. We're going to throw that over top of our organization, and it now needs to be care and fed. It's like a pet. It needs to be. We are going to expend hours to support it, and And what happens is, we have two organizations. We have the existing and what we did before, and we have this new. And now the new requires hours. And what happens is that often, I see, it diverts attention away from the activities that we're supposed to be accelerating. Not the point. Now, is there a different option? Yeah, there is. That's the point of this exercise. So the other thing is that these templates don't address are two incredibly important things: leadership and culture. Culture is not about org structure, and it's not about speeches. It isn't about either of those things. It's about reinforcing the behavior that you need to get the results you need. That's what we're talking about. And the leadership is not about new technology. Often when we have an issue in IT, we're tempted to go, oh, there's an app we can put in. And then we're going to go find the app, we're going to put it in, and going to slow train people. It just decelerates when we need to be accelerating. And it's not about putting more meetings in where, oh my goodness, we've already done. Why don't we just do what we say we're going to do rather than talk about what we're going to do? And really, if what we're talking about identifying inside our organization is pivotal actions that make a significant difference, that accelerate what we're doing now without requiring any extra overhead. That's where we're going. So what are they talking about? Maybe these pivotal actions are small, powerful actions that make a difference. Wake these people up. Maybe this accelerate this development. Maybe it fixes that process and gives us better business intelligence on development. Maybe it's an architecture infrastructure issue here. Maybe it's a customer service or inventory app that we can put in, a bot that can deliver great customer service outcomes with less resources than other projects. That's where we're going. Find those pivotal actions, drive them, hold them accountable, And then what happens is, it's not a distraction because you're just accelerating what it is. And there's no care and feeding of it. There's nothing over top it. There's no overhead. So off you go. And that's what we want to do. And that looks like great leadership. That's where we're going. So if I were to come alongside your organization and help you, I'd probably look at 6 things. So if the 6 things I'd look for are culture, I mentioned that before. If you don't, what it is, what it isn't, how to drive it, because if you don't understand this, you can't lead. And then we'll talk about leadership. It's how do you deal with intake? How do you deal with shifting priorities? How do you drive your people and get what you need from the people you have? And get the most from the people you have. Then how do you deal with people with business units and functional areas with vastly different viewpoints? How do you manage that and still win? We'll talk about that. And then we'll talk about activate from business, the business that you're consulting in, right through to release management. How do you get the behaviors you need to deliver the results you need when you need them? And finally, how do you look at time scale? How do you accelerate that time to positive result? That's critically important nowadays. And then the other thing is how to engage high performers. And how do you bring the behavior of non-high performers up to the high performers level? So that's what we're talking about, how to keep them engaged and keep them productive. So these are the 6 things I'm talking about. Are these valuable? I did this for one organization. They said, we've learned more from Keith about leadership than all other consulting engagements combined. So pretty valuable stuff. I'm going to be your coach for the next 6 or 8 weeks. I'm looking forward to this. If you're looking for the links, it's smdknowledge.com/dx. Hey, thanks for spending these few minutes with me, and I look forward to helping you in the next few weeks.